the role of acceptance. A lot of people associate the word acceptance with, I'm okay with it. I'm good with it. I like it. And that's absolutely what acceptance is not. So how do you explain acceptance to clients and why this is a goal we're trying to get to?
So 1000%, it's not accepting that you're okay with the loss, right? That you're good with it. If somebody dies, it's never okay. You're always sad, right? It's always going to hurt. There's always going to be a pain associated with that. It's almost accepting that reality, right? What you're going to live with, yet how you're going to be able to continue to live. It's literally wrestling with the tension of that. But I think that that's why I love the 6th stage of meaning and making meaning, because David Kessler, leading grief expert, found that through his own journey after losing his son, that when he got to acceptance, it wasn't good enough. He needed something else. And so he actually went to the Kubler-Ross foundation and asked permission to expand and add this 6th stage of meaning. And they granted him permission to that. And he saw the making meaning stage as finding purpose in the pain. And it became like a cushion, he said, or a life raft for him that he realized he didn't have before. So 1,000 times over, he'll take his son back. It's not a replacement, but it helped him in making meaning of what is so devastating and feels so impossible to ever move forward.
And it makes sense that acceptance is a necessary stage in getting to the meaning stage, because you have to accept, here it is. So acceptance to me isn't, I like that it's there. It's just, this is a microphone. Here it is. It's neither that I like it or dislike the microphone, but it exists and it's right here in front of me. And so once we have that acceptance, we can do something with it. But if I denied this microphone's existence and I kept getting recorded and I'm wondering why I'm getting recorded, then I'm not moving anywhere. I'm not resolving anything, right? So having that sense of acceptance, then we can do something with it. It's the power of acceptance, especially in the DBT literature, with their term radical acceptance. You have empowerment. Now you can manipulate and manage your emotion in a totally different way versus when you're in denial. You're suppressing, you're pushing down, you're bartering, you're debating, you're lost in your thoughts, you're hitting depression, you're kind of moving between all of the stages of grief. The grief almost has control over you. At any point in time, you could be angry or depressed or be bartering. You have that wave of emotion. You're kind of on that roller coaster, like you were describing. The difference between when you first found out that that loved one was gone, or that idea was gone, or that vision was gone, that twist, that pain, that crunch, that taking the breath away, kind of, oh my gosh, anytime you think of it, to, yeah, they're gone and I remember them and I love them and I have such great memories with them. It's like there's a different type of peace when there's acceptance versus when you're still battling and managing the emotion. And with that peace, almost then can come the meaning. Then I can reflect back in a more open way because the pain isn't controlling me anymore.
Yeah, I think too, once you get through that acceptance piece and you're ready for meaning, you need some sort of purpose in your pain. It helps you with the perspective, right, of not negating what you still feel, but it's always a part of your story. It's always going to be a part of your testimony. And we're not always going to have the answers that we want, right? And we're not always going to have the outcome that we want or hoping will come true, manifesting for. So I think that when we think about darkness or we experience darkness, we want to find some sort of light. It is like a survival tactic. And so the meaning stage helps us find a sliver of light. And that never replaces everything else that is also true. I mean, this is what we do in therapy is we hold and we work with the both and the only way through it is through it. So I think that it's just additions, not replacements to
it's something to hold on to. The organization of the why, the how, the pain, the acceptance, the peace of there it is. Plus, and I have a sense of meaning in the pain. It gives us something to stand on foundation so that we can have a vision for what's next. Viktor Frankl is someone who comes to mind when I think of meaning. Fantastic book if you haven't read it. He is a survivor of the Holocaust. I'm sure you're aware of who he is. Have you read his book?
Yes, A Man's Search for Meaning.
Man's Search for Meaning, yes, by Viktor Frankl. It's his story of the Holocaust. And the first half of the book is a tough read, really heavy, of what he experienced as a Jew in the concentration camps and all the loss he experienced. Basically, he was the only survivor of his whole family and how he moved forward from that. So he's set apart in that he was a psychotherapist. He was a researcher of our emotional mental mind. And so one of his survival tactics is he pretended that he was studying how do people experience trauma like this and witness the others around him and took notes. He made some really startling discoveries in the power of meaning. And the second half of the book is how he was able to create meaning for himself after such a horrific experience, after so much loss. Can we speak just the power of meaning and how much we need meaning? Because life is loss. If we really just look at the big picture, the only constant in life is change as things are evolving. Even good changes can be loss. Like when you move and you're excited about the move, you're looking forward to where you're going, you're also saying goodbye to where you used to be. It's a different stage of your life and you're losing the old stage. Watching our children growing up. I can't tell you how many times I've looked back at pictures of them as littles. I miss the sweetness.
You're making me hit the denial stage. I'm like,
but when you have an 11-year-old who's jaded, who rolls their eyes at you regularly, and they used to be your snuggle bug, you grieve the loss of their sweet, cute innocence before they started becoming a jaded teenager.
Those
sweet moments. And so even though that's good, they're growing up, he's becoming a young man and she's becoming a young woman. That's a beautiful process, but there's also loss. And so the importance of meaning and purpose in as we're coping with all of this.
Well, I think with the importance of meaning, one thing that just came to mind when we talked about those sweet moments of cuddling your son is holding on to that moment, right? Of that you had that moment and how special it was, and looking for moments that you're having now. A lot of times we have our blinders on because we're looking for specifically what we think we want and need. Looking for moments, even if they're small, and cherishing those moments, recognizing the importance of those moments. But I think speaking just to A Man's Search for Meaning and how powerful his discovery of having those that had a reason for living persevered longer, lived longer. When we found that laughing or smiling cures cancer, things are connected. Making meaning helps us live with the grief. So I think that it's such a powerful thing, and that Viktor Frankl's book speaks to this difference in those that never find meaning or never make meaning versus those that did.